Hello everyone, my name is Reese/Odds. You can call me whatever you like. So let's start out with this video. So pretty much all of 2022, I have been learning Japanese daily, and I thought, hey, might as well make a video about it since I was inspired to pick up Japanese by people like Leva Kiwi, and their videos really kept me motivated through all of it. So also shout out to him, he's really underrated. I actually really like his house series, but I'm getting distracted. I thought it might just be useful for someone out there who, wants to know what it's like to learn Japanese. Maybe they're like on the fence about it and they don't really want to like commit all that time. So yeah, I understand that. So let's actually get to the video. I was gonna make some long-winded explanation on how I started, but I'm just gonna keep this chill, just me talking, because I really don't think you want like a personal backstory. I think you just want to know my experience. So in January, I had started learning Japanese again. So in 2019, I actually learned Japanese, and I did it for about a month, and I stopped after 2020. But I had some like recent like reignition of like, just man, I want to learn a language again. I just use Duolingo to slowly get back into it. That's totally fine. Just use whatever. Like, if it makes you do it every single day and it keeps a consistent habit with you, you might as well just do it. Now, at this time, I had known of the existence of Anki, but I was not using it yet because I had no idea if I was just going to give up after another 30 days. So I was just like, might as well just like, learn it casually. And we'll see that's quite the theme during this. So like I said, there was really no goal. At first, it was just, am I going to give up after 30 days or am I going to keep going? So I just did it every single day. But man, it was tough for sure. Now, if you're starting, don't feel bad if it's tough. This one course on Duolingo was the reason that I stopped when I was like 14. It was like one of the time courses. And still, that was like really hard when I came back. So now as January passed and we get into like February and March, I had grown pretty tired of Duolingo. Since everything has been said why Duolingo's terrible. Like I said, leave a Kiwi. If you just watch his video, you can literally just understand everything bad about it. I even knew that stuff going in. I just needed something to like use to get myself consistent. So by like late March, I'd say around that time, I knew like at least 250 kanji. Like I don't know how many words I'd know, maybe like 500, because I remember around that time actually passing the N5, and this was before I just used Anki. It was literally just from Duolingo I was able to pass N5, which isn't really too just insane, but it's just like, whatever. I was able to pass it even with Duolingo. But by that time, I was like, nah, I can't keep using Duolingo, bro. I need to use Anki. And then I started using Anki like very early April. I think it's April the 4th, if I remember correctly, but we'll see. I started out pretty slow, only doing like 5 or 10 cards. Just taking baby steps, not trying to like overwork myself or try and stress myself out, since this is probably like the most stressful time in my life actually, but I'll get into that later. But after using Anki, I had noticed a very big increase in my actual like reading ability. No longer am I like just looking at a word, I'm like, oh, what's that word, I just know it. Like I actually will just know it. So like the words just stuck in my brain way better than they did with Anki compared to Duolingo. So I was just like, well, Anki is just so much better than Duolingo. I'm just going to stop using Duolingo. So at this time, I stopped using Duolingo and started using Anki as my primary learning method. So now as April and May passed, I just kept doing my normal Anki cards, every single day. Sometimes reading Tai Kim's grammar when I was bored at work or something. And like I mentioned before, I was busy with my first ever part-time job during this time in my junior year of high school. So it was actually kind of insane. I wasn't immersing like at all, like literally just doing my Anki cards and getting off. But sometimes I would do it. Sometimes I listen to like Japanese music and stuff. Play Japanese games like Toho. Like I fucking love Toho. Actually, most of the music I listen to is Toho. And that's kind of why I started in the first place. Despite this being the most stressful time in my life, I did always find time to do Anki. And even if the language wasn't making sense, my mindset was just like always like, if I keep going, eventually one day it'll make sense. And this is probably why I never was like just try not to stress myself with Japanese at all. I always try to make it a non-stressful experience, which I know some people think learning languages like Japanese is stressful, but if you just take your time and enjoy it, I 100% bet you will really enjoy it, although that's quite obvious. Now, late May and June are very important months for me. In my opinion, this was like really kind of like the start of where I'm like, oh wow, let's like stop doing this for like maybe like 30 minutes a day. Let's do this for like an hour and 30 a day. So I had a lot more time since, you know, June, May. I don't know why I said it like that in that order. I just had a lot more time, so I could just do like studying a lot. And this is where I developed my like really, I love kanji. I just love kanji so much. I know a lot of people like at the start they think kanji is like, oh god, kanji, but it's really not that hard. Like especially with RTK, you like really get used to like seeing kanji and like parsing the kanji and just being like, wow, this is really cool. Like you get to a point where you just read a sentence and you see all these kanji, you're like, wow, this is like really helpful. I would not have been able to do this in my own language. Like just being able to see the kanji and read it is just so nice. But I'm getting sidetracked. I learned a ton during this time and it was just super fun and nice thing to do during summer instead of just playing like Minecraft and Valorant all day. Just, you know, setting aside some time in my day just to, you know, study Japanese and chill out. The only thing at that time I could say was annoying was definitely adding the Anki cards, since I did it in a pretty inefficient way of like I would literally copy and paste like the words I learned from like, let's just say I was watching an anime or something, and I would copy and paste the words into a Discord and then copy and paste it from my iPad to the like actual Anki deck on my iPad. So it was kind of inefficient, but I still do it to this day. So I've gotten more used to it. So now July and August, I tried to like actually add like cards every single day to my Anki deck to just be consistent. And that's definitely something I want to do again, but I'll get into that later as well. So now we'll talk about August, since August is actually very important. So since school is starting up again, I had less time, but at the same time as that, I had also finished 2000, like the 2K core deck, the first one. I had finished all my kanji, and I had finished like pretty much all the words I put in from June and July from my own Anki deck. So that means I started out the new Anki deck, and I thought, well, I don't really have kanji or my own deck now. I mean, I could always add more to my deck, but I should just focus the core deck because I don't have enough time to immerse. So that's when I started to consider like I could just do like 25 cards a day, since I was already taking 10 kanji, like 15 of my own words and 15 from the core deck at this time. So I just thought, you know, it makes sense for me to just have 25 words a day since I can't do all these other things. So yes, that's probably what you were thinking. Like, wait, wasn't August only like 4 months ago? How did you do 6,000 if you just completed the 2K in August? That is how I did 25 words a day, and hopefully by this video comes out, by the time this video comes out, I'll have actually finished it, which is the 18th of January. So that is quite literally all I did through September and January, was literally just do my normal core deck. I was just trying to get much better at reading as well. I would always read the sentences at the bottom. I'd always look at Tai Kim's grammar, just see what, like, you know, remind myself on some grammar points that maybe I'd forgotten. And it was just like, that's pretty much all I did day in, day out. And I did that pretty much up until now, which 6,000 words later, I think I'm actually ready to focus on immersing myself in the language. And now my goal is to try and study an hour a day and do 2 hours immersion a day. With the pace I'm on, I can learn like 9,150 words in another 365 days, meaning I can get 15,000 words by like 2 years. No longer do I feel like this language is just a side hobby to me. I genuinely want to be like really good at this. Like when I started out, it was just like, oh, I'm just gonna like learn for fun. But now when I was just like watching stuff like the other day, I'm like, damn, I like actually really want to be able to understand everything I'm seeing, like 100%. And I really think it's possible. I'm only 17, so I have a lot of time to learn. But I think the most exciting part is that since I'm so young, I actually could incorporate my language abilities into a future career if I wanted to, which is kind of what I really want to do. But that's definitely something I'm gonna have to worry about way later down the line. So yeah, that was pretty much my experience with studying Japanese. So yeah, if you watched that entire thing, thank you. I was kind of just rambling, but I definitely had notes here. Like I said at the beginning, I just wanted to make a video because these kinds of videos are what brought me back into learning and did keep me motivated throughout it. If you're a beginner, if you just keep going, eventually it will become a part of your daily life and you just won't have to think about it anymore. And that was just the experience for me. I just took baby steps until eventually Japanese was just a part of my daily life. And now 365 days later, I can't even imagine myself without it. So yeah, thanks for watching. See ya.